Hello, my name is Dwight Hubbard. I'm Verizon Media's Python language platform lead. Um, Python Media was formerly known as Yahoo. I'm here today to talk to you about how we use our screwdriver template philosophy to make dealing with developers a little less like herding cats. So, why a philosophy? Well, it provides us with a thought out direction for encouraging good practices by making developers happy, much like you make your cat happy. Uh, so what is Screwdriver? Well, it's an open source CI/CD. It uses a file called Screwdriver YAML. This configuration file consists of jobs that run shell commands inside operating system images, frequently containers, and they are triggered by some sort of trigger. It can be a git commit or the completion of other jobs. So what is a Screwdriver template? Well, a template is a predefined job configuration that can be used as a basis to define a job in the Screwdriver YAML. So since Screwdriver YAML consists of jobs that are triggered, the template provides you with a job configuration based on a name. So you can say, so a template consists of a namespace / name, and then all the job attributes, the image, which is the operating system container, environment variables that are set before the commands, shell commands that the job executes are executed, any secrets that need to be fetched from Screwdriver's credential store, as well as steps, which are named sequences of shell commands to execute that job. Now, our philosophy for template naming is we define all of our Python templates and we release them together with a standard life cycle. We use a 1-year release life cycle. Our templates have a release number as part of it so that we can have different versions of the template. And within our templates, they are all named for the functionality they provide, not the tool that provides it. This allows developers to find the template that does what they want without having to know the names of the tools that are actually providing the functionality. We make our templates consistent and extensible for developers, right? When it comes to the images in our templates, our philosophy is we provide a default image that has all the tools and utilities our templates use pre-installed, so it can be cached. Meanwhile, we design our templates so that the image can be overridden and the templates will still work. And that is because our templates verify the software they use and, if necessary, install it before it's used. Next, we try to be consistent and extensible with the environment. Many templates have the same configuration setting values, and we make it a point that those setting values all have the same name and they all perform the exact same function. An example of this is there's a setting called base_Python, and this environment variable specifies the Python interpreter that the template will use. This allows the developers to use our template and then specify a different Python interpreter. In addition, we want to make our steps in our templates consistent and extensible as well, right? Many of our templates have common steps, right? They're the same steps in different templates. So they all have the same name and they execute the same commands. So they work the same in all of our templates. No surprises for the developers. There are some useful common steps that our templates have that we provide that provide functionality that we've found as philosophically to be very useful. All of our templates have a beginning and an end step. That's because Screwdriver allows the developers to add their own steps before, after, or as a replacement for an existing step. So by having a begin step, the developers can put stuff at the beginning. By having an end step, it makes it easy for the developers to add commands at the end. We also provide a step called initOS. Since our templates are for Python, the initOS step is used in all of our templates to make sure that the template, the container that is running the template, has a working Python runtime. And if it doesn't, it installs one so that we know when that step completes that Python is working in the container. We also have a step called a init, and this step copies in default configuration files. So it has all the configuration files for all of the tools that we use in our templates. And if a configuration for one of the tools does not exist in the source code repository, it copies in the default configuration. And our default configurations work approximately 90% of the time. So in most cases, the developers can use the default configuration, and they don't have to know how to configure the tool. And just as importantly, if there are changes needed for the configuration files because newer versions of our tooling makes changes that require configuration changes, we can make those changes in a single location for the default configurations instead of having to change every single repo because they don't all have the configuration files. However, the init only copies default configurations in if the configuration file isn't already there. This means developers, if they need a more advanced configuration, they can put it in their repository and still use our template. So they get the extensibility, they get the functionality of our template with the ability to use their own configurations, which makes them happy because they don't have to deal with many things, but the things they want to deal with, they can. And finally, our templates are consistent and extensible. So at the end of our templates, we make it a point to save the configuration files that the templates commands used, all the log files that were generated, any reports, and all generated artifacts in the build artifacts for Screwdriver. And this happens even when things fail, because it's when things fail that you really care about the log files and the configurations that cause the things in the log files. And that is it. That's our a quick and dirty philosophy of how we do Python Screwdriver templates. I hope you have a great day. Yes, and as it would be, I have one of our developers right here. This is Flurkin77. We release all of our templates as a group so that we can within all of our templates so they're consistent. This really simplifies a lot of things, specifically if the developers want to replace a specific set.